Hey there, everybody. This is Boli Thorn, and thank you for listening to This Weird Road presents Taking Boli by the Horn. This installment, I'm going to discuss Title VII of the EEOC, which is the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, specifically about religious garb and grooming habits for specific religions and stuff like that, as it relates to the workplace. Now, I've recently had an issue with this in that I've started work for a company that required clean shaven. And I did so because, money. But during the process, I'm watching the training video, and they show a gentleman there with a rather thick, wild-looking beard. And I'm like, hey, what the French toast? What's going on here? And the gentleman who was sitting with me throughout all the training says, well, that guy's Muslim, so he doesn't have to shave. And I'm like, but my religious practice also requires, not so much requires, but is a common practice of our men. And there's also historical basis in relation to, how slaves were kept and things like that. So he was kind of dismissive of it. And so I waited, another week and continued shaving and everything like that. And it just really was getting under my skin. So I went looking so that I had some backup. And that's where I found Title VII of the EEOC. The page that I found is, an official government site. And it is www.eeoc.gov//EEOC/ let me get it there. Publications/QA_religious_grooming.cfm RENDERFORPRINT =1. And I will put the link in the page. But this article covers everything. It also tells you that they're not allowed to question the validity. It says things like, you can be the only person in your religion that practices it as long as you firmly believe that that's part of your religion. So, and this all came about, in 1964, but has recently come up again with other things like, if you don't know what Flying Spaghetti Monster is, go take a look at it. But the short version is, Flying Spaghetti Monster is a religion that was put together to counteract certain states and local or public schools that were enforcing the creation myth, the Christian creation myth, to be specific. And it's kind of spiraled out as an example. Spiraled. It's funny considering what he looks like. But it's kind of spiraled out to hold other examples for things like this. Like there was a woman who insisted that she get to wear a colander on her head for her driver's license photo. And when they tried to tell her that she couldn't, she's like, well, you let people wear hijabs. I don't want to mispronounce it, but Muslim headscarves. And Sikhs are allowed to wear their head wraps and stuff like that. So why can she not wear a colander? Especially because it didn't interfere with the look of her face. Like, you could still see all of her features except for her hair color. So, you know, I like, it's kind of silly, and I think it's intentionally silly, but it drives home the point that you don't get to tell people how to practice their religions and what to do in relation to it. But this does extend specifically, or it extends into private businesses. And basically, unless, and even government business, like government jobs, or employers are not allowed to discriminate in any way based on your religion. So this covers things like your grooming, stopping in the day to pray. You're even allowed to schedule time off for religious practices. Now, they're not required to pay you or anything for these things, but you can't be punished for them. So the page that I mentioned has all kinds of examples of things that they would bring up, and it covers them. And one of the things that that my boss's boss had brought up was, well, no, we hold a military standard for appearance. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you can't enforce that on me as far as my facial hair is concerned. And he's like, well, I'll have to look into it. And I'm like, well, you can go ahead and do that. But while he's doing that, I'm currently growing my beard back out. I felt very naked without it. So much to the point that Michelle Lee, my darling wife, has crocheted. I don't want to get stabbed with a crocheting needle. She has crocheted a beard for me, and it's epic and magnificent, and I love it. But I'd rather have the real thing. So, with that, if you are having these problems, don't go into it alone. Don't go into it uninformed. So, look up your information beforehand. They're not allowed to ask what religion you are, because that would also infringe on your rights. It's good to be upfront if you can. Like, if you don't think that it will cause further problems, just because the more trust you can build, the better. But be forthcoming with what's required on your part and theirs. And then if they choose to not hire you or to let you go over these things, you've got a pretty solid backing, going back, 53 years, I think. So keep that in mind. Keep your wits as sharp as your swords. And if you like what's going on here and you want more information like this, put the hammer down on that subscribe button and I'll give you as much as I can. Thanks. And, real short, we are on hiatus until January, because there's so much family stuff going on with Ulf and I, and so we'll be back to you as soon as possible on the Tree of Life Hour and on YouTube. And folks, don't forget to join us the third Friday of every month at 5316 Bardstown Road at the Hibachi Sushi Buffet for the Heathen Moots. We have them every month. We get together, we discuss, but in general, just a good time to spend with community. Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you there.
Don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.